Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking an incredibly vital topic drawn straight from the insights of the fragile focus, reclaiming attention in the digital age. We're really going to dig into the modern crisis of our shrinking attention spans. It's something I know almost all of us feel, right? This creeping sense that our ability to just sit down and concentrate is literally slipping through our fingers. Students, professionals, parents, kids, it seems like nobody's immune. But we aren't just going to sit here and complain about the problem. We're going to break down exactly what's happening inside your head, why it's happening, and absolutely most importantly, how you can take your brain back.
Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to picture a scenario. You finally sit down in a really comfortable chair, maybe you've got a fresh cup of coffee, and you open a book you've been genuinely excited to read. You get through, maybe 2 or 3 pages? And then, almost completely subconsciously, your hand reaches into your pocket for your phone. You just want to check one message, or maybe just see if a notification popped up. 10 minutes later, you're deep in some completely unrelated feed and you've entirely forgotten the paragraph you just read. Sound familiar? Honestly, it happens to the best of us. But why?
Now, if that scenario just made you feel a little wave of guilt, let me stop you right there. You aren't lazy, you haven't suddenly become less intelligent, and your willpower hasn't mysteriously evaporated into thin air. What's actually happening is that your biology, the literal wiring of your brain, is facing a massive systemic mismatch. You're essentially bringing an ancient survival tool to a modern battlefield, and the weapons on this battlefield are specifically designed to defeat it.
Section 1. The focus crisis, a modern mismatch. To truly understand this, we have to diagnose the root cause by looking backward at the biological history of the human mind.
Think about it like this. For over 300,000 years, the human brain evolved in an environment where information traveled incredibly slowly. We're talking no smartphones, no social feeds, absolutely no breaking news tickers. In that world, the brain evolved to pay fierce attention to novelty. A sudden movement in the bushes, a new sound, a new face. These new stimuli could literally mean life or death. So our brains heavily rewarded us for being distracted by new things. It was a brilliant survival mechanism. But today, that exact same mechanism is being ruthlessly exploited by screens that deliver endless notifications. We are wired to seek out the new, but we now live in a world where the new is unlimited.
Which brings us to Section 2, the attention economy, where focus is a product. If our biology is being exploited, we really have to ask, who is doing the exploiting? And why is your focus suddenly so incredibly valuable?
Well, the answer lies in the attention economy. Your attention is no longer just a cognitive function. It's a highly lucrative product. Some of the most powerful companies in the world are fiercely competing for one single resource, and that is your eyes on their screen. Because in the digital world, attention equals massive ad revenue. Just wrap your head around the sheer scale of this. Billions of dollars are spent designing systems specifically to capture and hold your attention. Technology is actively competing for your brain.
So, how do these tech systems actually hook us? Let's move to Section 3, your brain on dopamine, the reward messenger, and uncover the chemical drivers behind our distraction. Now, what's really interesting here is how we need to completely redefine a word we've all heard a million times: dopamine. Pop culture constantly calls dopamine the feel-good chemical. But honestly, that's only half the story. Its actual job is motivation and reward prediction. When your phone buzzes with an unexpected text, or you get a like on a post, your dopamine spikes. The brain says, hey, this is rewarding. Do it again. The core issue is that modern tech delivers these hits faster and with way less effort than anything our ancestors ever experienced. You are unknowingly training your brain to crave constant, rapid, effortless novelty.
And the delivery system for this dopamine has drastically evolved too. We've seen an absolute explosion of short-form content. You know, those 10, 20, or 60-second videos that just provide a rapid-fire burst of stimulation? Because the brain adapts so quickly, it becomes totally accustomed to this constant switching. Researchers actually call this attentional fragmentation. Basically, your focus gets sliced into smaller and smaller pieces. This is exactly why sitting down to do deep work or read a long article suddenly feels so completely exhausting. Your brain is anticipating a reward every 15 seconds, and when a book doesn't deliver that, your brain assumes it's time to check out.
But wait, technology isn't acting alone here. Let's hit Section 4, the silent attention killers. These are the lifestyle habits actively depleting your cognitive battery before you even glance at a screen. First up is the massive myth of multitasking. We all love to put great multitasker on our resumes, but science tells us the human brain literally doesn't do this. You cannot process 2 complex cognitive tasks at the exact same time. Instead, you're just rapidly switching back and forth. And every time you switch, say going from writing an email to checking a text, and then back to the email, you create what's called attention residue. A little piece of your mental processing power gets left behind on that previous task. By the end of the day, your mental desktop is cluttered with dozens of open, unfinished tabs, completely draining your energy. Just like a web browser with 50 tabs open, eventually you're going to crash.
When we break down the consequences, it's pretty shocking what we put our brains through daily. We already covered multitasking and attention residue, but what about chronic stress? The relentless pressure of modern life spikes our cortisol, which forces the brain to prioritize survival over focused thinking. You become highly reactive instead of concentrated. Then there's sleep deprivation. Sleep isn't just a timeout, it's active brain maintenance. Research actually shows that poor sleep impairs your concentration almost as much as being intoxicated. Add an endless daily information overload, and yeah, it is absolutely no wonder our mental batteries are constantly scattered and depleted. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate casualty of our modern lifestyle, the disappearing skill of boredom. Seriously, think about it. When was the last time you stood in line at a grocery store or waited for a friend at the cafe and just waited, without pulling out your phone? Boredom used to be the runway for human creativity. When the mind isn't actively occupied, it wanders. Ideas connect, complex problems get solved. Today, we've practically lost the vital ability to sit alone with our thoughts. We bypass those quiet moments that actually spark deep creative thinking, opting for instant digital pacification instead.
So we've thoroughly diagnosed the problem. But here is the highly empowering news. Your brain is incredibly adaptable. Welcome to Section 5, Reclaiming Your Attention, and how to actually train your focus.
So the crucial point to take away is that attention is exactly like a muscle, and you can absolutely train it. We have 7 evidence-based strategies to rebuild that focus. First, reduce digital distractions. Turn off those non-essential notifications right now. Second, practice deep work. Carve out 30 to 90 minutes of completely uninterrupted focus. It's going to be hard at first, but your stamina will grow. Third and fourth, prioritize your sleep and exercise regularly to give your brain the strong physical foundation it desperately needs. Fifth, proactively schedule screen-free time so your mind can recover. Sixth, train mindfulness to boost your actual attention control. And finally, number 7, embrace boredom. The next time you have a spare 5 minutes, leave the phone in your pocket. Just let your mind wander.
The crisis of attention isn't just a personal struggle. It's really the defining challenge of our era, because without focus, information cannot become understanding, and potential cannot become achievement. Yes, you are living in an environment that is constantly fighting to capture your mind, but your attention remains your absolute most valuable asset. It's the engine that allows you to learn, to connect, and to create. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. In a world where billions of dollars are spent trying to distract you every single day, the ability to concentrate is nothing short of a 21st century superpower. So what does this all mean for you? Will you let them keep your focus, or will you take it back? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to start training that attention muscle today.